In February 2007, the world watched in disbelief as Britney Spears walked into a Los Angeles salon, grabbed a pair of clippers, and shaved her head. Cameras flashed furiously as the pop princess, once the epitome of teenage innocence and global stardom, transformed into the most infamous tabloid headline of the decade. For millions, it was the shocking image of a young woman unraveling before their eyes. A symbol of fame gone horribly wrong. But the story of Britney Spears is not just one of collapse. It is the tale of a child prodigy from Louisiana who conquered the music industry before she was 20, only to be crushed by its relentless machine. From chart-topping hits like Baby One More Time to the brutal conservatorship that controlled her life for 13 years. Britney's journey is one of dazzling triumph, heartbreaking tragedy, and a fight for freedom that inspired a global movement. How did the world's biggest pop star lose control of her own life? And after finally breaking free, can Britney Spears truly reclaim the legacy she once owned? Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2, 1981, in Macomb, Mississippi, and raised in the small town of Kentwood, Louisiana. Her childhood was shaped by the contrasts of Southern simplicity and an ambition that reached far beyond her hometown. Her father, Jamie Spears, worked various jobs but battled alcoholism, while her mother, Lynn, was a schoolteacher who dreamed of giving her daughter a brighter future. From the very beginning, Britney stood out, singing in the local Baptist church choir and performing in school talent shows. She displayed a natural charisma that captivated anyone who watched her. By age 8, she auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club, though initially turned away for being too young. She didn't give up. At 10, she was already performing on Star Search, dazzling audiences with her powerful voice and poise well beyond her years. Her parents' marriage was often turbulent, marked by financial struggles and instability, but Britney's talent became both an escape and a beacon of hope. Lynn, recognizing her daughter's extraordinary gifts, dedicated herself to managing Britney's budding career, often driving her to New York for auditions and training. At just 11, Britney finally secured her place on the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, performing alongside future stars like Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling. For Britney, it was the beginning of a journey that would launch her from small-town Louisiana to the global stage. Yet, the pressures of her upbringing lingered beneath the surface. Growing up in a fractured household, with a father battling his demons and a mother pushing her toward fame, Britney learned early that performance could both mask pain and create opportunity. Those childhood experiences, both nurturing and damaging, would profoundly influence the woman she became, setting the stage for her meteoric rise and the vulnerabilities that would later lead to her public breakdown. Britney Spears' education was anything but ordinary. While her peers in Kentwood attended classes and after-school activities, Britney's classroom often shifted between rehearsal studios, audition rooms, and television sets. She briefly attended Park Lane Academy in Louisiana, but her career ambitions quickly pulled her away from traditional schooling. Instead, she balanced tutors with the rigorous demands of training and performing, a double life that blended ordinary adolescence with the extraordinary pressures of show business. Her breakthrough came when she joined the all-new Mickey Mouse Club in 1993. Surrounded by an astonishing cast of future superstars, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, and Ryan Gosling, Britney sharpened her performance skills. The show became her boot camp, offering daily lessons in singing, dancing, and acting. When the program ended in 1994, many cast members returned to quiet lives, but Britney was determined to continue. For a time, she stepped away from entertainment, returning to Louisiana to live as a normal teenager. Yet that normalcy didn't last. By 16, Britney auditioned for Jive Records, delivering a demo tape that showcased her distinctive, soulful voice. Record executives were captivated by the contrast between her youthful innocence and vocal maturity. She was signed almost immediately. In 1998, Britney released her debut single, Baby One More Time. The accompanying music video, her dressed in a schoolgirl outfit, blending innocence with rebellion, became a cultural lightning rod. Within weeks, the song shot to #1 in over 20 countries. Her debut album, released in 1999, sold more than 10 million copies in its first year in the US alone, instantly transforming Britney from a small-town girl into the new face of global pop. Her rapid ascent was no accident. Years of training, early exposure to the industry, and an unyielding drive set her apart from her peers. But the speed of her rise also meant that Britney skipped many of the milestones of an ordinary teenage education, replaced instead with the relentless school of fame. The release of Baby One More Time in 1998 was not just a breakthrough, it was a cultural earthquake. At only 16 years old, Britney Spears became the face of a new pop era. The single topped the Billboard Hot 100 and its provocative schoolgirl-themed video turned her into both a teen idol and a lightning rod for controversy. With one song, Britney bridged innocence and rebellion, creating a formula that captivated millions and defined the late 1990s. Her debut album of the same name sold over 25 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling albums of all time by a teenage artist. The follow-up, Oops, I Did It Again, 2000, solidified her dominance, debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200 and selling over 1 million copies in its first week. Britney wasn't just successful, she was unstoppable. Critics dubbed her the Princess of Pop, a title that would follow her throughout her career. But her influence extended far beyond music. Britney's image, her fashion, her choreography, her interviews, set trends for an entire generation. Young fans emulated her, while tabloids dissected her every move. She became the most photographed woman in the world, a status that would later contribute to her downfall. By the early 2000s, Britney was at the peak of her powers. Her tours filled arenas worldwide, her endorsement deals raked in millions, and her face was plastered across every magazine cover. She also began exploring acting, appearing in the 2002 film Crossroads. While the movie received lukewarm reviews, it demonstrated her cultural dominance. Anything associated with Britney Spears drew attention. Her personal life, particularly her relationship with fellow pop star Justin Timberlake, fueled her celebrity even further. The pairing was marketed as America's perfect couple, the fairy tale of two young icons in love. But when the relationship ended in 2002, Timberlake's hit song Cry Me a River implied infidelity, casting Britney as the villain. The breakup not only shaped her public narrative but also revealed how quickly the media could turn on its stars. Still, Britney pressed forward. Albums like Britney, 2001, and In the Zone, 2003, showcased her artistic evolution. With hits such as I'm a Slave for You and Toxic, pushing boundaries both musically and visually. Toxic would later earn her a Grammy, cementing her status not just as a pop phenomenon but as a respected artist in her own right. By 2004, Britney Spears was not just a singer, she was an empire. Worth millions, adored globally, and recognized as one of the most influential entertainers of her generation. She seemed untouchable, yet behind the dazzling performances and chart-topping hits, cracks were forming. The pressures of fame, the suffocating scrutiny of the press, and the complexities of her personal life were quietly building toward the storm that would soon engulf her world. If Britney Spears' professional life was dazzling, her love life became the arena where triumph, heartbreak, and scandal collided most dramatically. From teenage romances to high-profile marriages, every relationship she had played out under the unforgiving spotlight of global media. Her first major public romance was with fellow Mickey Mouse Club alum Justin Timberlake. Beginning in the late 1990s, the couple was adored as the golden pair of pop, two rising stars seemingly destined for a fairy tale future. Their matching denim outfits at the 2001 American Music Awards became iconic, a symbol of young love in the era of TRL and MTV. But the breakup in 2002 shattered that image. Timberlake's single Cry Me a River implied that Britney had been unfaithful, a narrative the media devoured. Britney, meanwhile, was left vilified, her heartbreak exploited for headlines. The split marked the first major rupture in her carefully polished image. In 2004, Britney shocked fans with a whirlwind 55-hour marriage to childhood friend Jason Alexander in Las Vegas. The union was quickly annulled, but it fueled speculation that the pop princess was spiraling. Later that same year, she married backup dancer Kevin Federline. Their relationship was a tabloid sensation from the start, criticized for its speed and drama. With Federline, Britney became a mother to two sons, Sean Preston, 2005, and Jaden James, 2006. Motherhood should have been a refuge, but instead it became a new battlefield. Paparazzi relentlessly pursued Britney, capturing every misstep as she navigated early motherhood under the glare of flashbulbs. Incidents such as driving with her baby on her lap were magnified into proof that she was unfit as a parent. Her marriage to Federline quickly deteriorated, devolving into a bitter divorce and custody battle that placed her private struggles on the world stage. The collapse of her marriage coincided with the darkest period of her life. By 2007, Britney was fighting for custody of her children while being relentlessly stalked by paparazzi. Each court hearing, each emotional breakdown, was splashed across front pages. Her love life, once the stuff of fairy tale pop culture, had become synonymous with scandal, heartbreak, and public humiliation. Through it all, Britney seemed trapped in a cycle of seeking love, losing control, and being punished for her humanity. Her relationships, whether with Justin Timberlake, Jason Alexander, or Kevin Federline, were never just personal matters, they became cultural touchstones. Magnified to a global scale, and as her romantic life unraveled, so too did the carefully constructed image of the Princess of Pop. By 2007, Britney Spears' life had descended into one of the most infamous public breakdowns in modern celebrity history. What had once been whispers of instability exploded into a full-scale crisis. Broadcast across tabloids and television screens worldwide, the first signs of collapse emerged during her bitter divorce and custody battle with Kevin Federline. Paparazzi stalked her every move, often provoking her into angry confrontations. In February 2007, Britney shocked the world when she walked into a Los Angeles salon and shaved her head bald. The image, her defiant stare, clippers in hand, became the defining symbol of her unraveling. Days later, she attacked a paparazzo's car with an umbrella, a moment captured in photographs that circulated endlessly. The legal consequences were devastating. Courts deemed her behavior erratic, awarding temporary custody of her sons to Federline. Britney spiraled further, with repeated hospitalizations and mental health holds. In January 2008, following another psychiatric crisis, she was placed under a conservatorship, an arrangement intended for individuals incapable of managing their own affairs. What was meant to be temporary lasted 13 years. Under the conservatorship, Britney's father, Jamie Spears, and a team of lawyers controlled nearly every aspect of her life. She could not spend her own money freely, make medical decisions, or even choose her professional commitments without approval. During this time, Britney continued to work, releasing albums like Circus, 2008, embarking on world tours, and headlining a Las Vegas residency that generated hundreds of millions of dollars. To many, it was unthinkable that a woman capable of performing at such a high level could simultaneously be deemed legally incompetent. The contradiction fueled growing concern among fans, who launched the #FreeBritney movement. Supporters argued that she was being exploited for financial gain, trapped in a system designed to silence her. For years, Britney remained largely silent in public, her social media posts cryptic and scrutinized for hidden messages. Meanwhile, the media circus continued. Every court appearance was covered like a sporting event. Every photograph of her, whether smiling or disheveled, was dissected for meaning. Britney had become a prisoner not only of the conservatorship but of a culture that consumed her pain as entertainment. In 2019, alarm bells rang louder when Britney abruptly canceled her planned Las Vegas residency, citing her father's health issues. Soon after, she checked into a mental health facility. Rumors swirled that she was being held against her will. The hashtag Free Britney movement intensified, drawing mainstream attention as celebrities and activists voiced support. The turning point came in June 2021, when Britney broke her silence in a blistering court testimony. She described the conservatorship as abusive, revealing that she had been forced to work against her will, prevented from removing her birth control device, and denied basic freedoms. Her words shocked the world, confirming what fans had long suspected: the conservatorship was not protection, but imprisonment. In November 2021, after months of legal battles and public outcry, a Los Angeles judge terminated the conservatorship. Britney was finally free. Tears, cheers, and confetti filled the streets outside the courthouse, as supporters celebrated the end of one of Hollywood's darkest chapters. Yet the scars remain. The conservatorship left Britney deeply distrustful of the industry, her family, and even the media. Her story is a tragedy of a young woman who rose to unimaginable fame, only to be stripped of her autonomy at the height of her career. It is also a chilling example of how celebrity culture can both create and destroy, turning a pop princess into a prisoner of her own success. When Britney Spears finally regained her freedom in November 2021, the world watched with equal parts relief and anticipation. After 13 years under conservatorship, her life was once again her own. But freedom, while long awaited, was not without its complications. The immediate aftermath was defined by celebration. Fans of the hashtag Free Britney movement flooded social media with messages of joy. And Britney herself expressed gratitude for the support that helped her win back control. She quickly began reclaiming her narrative, sharing candid reflections on Instagram and speaking openly about the trauma she endured. For many, these posts were raw proof of a woman still processing years of control and exploitation. Professionally, Britney's comeback has been cautious. Unlike many expected, she did not rush back to the stage or studio. Instead, she focused on rebuilding her personal life. In 2022, she married longtime partner Sam Asghari in an intimate ceremony, a moment she described as a symbol of her newfound independence. The marriage represented stability and choice, something she had been denied for over a decade. Yet, Britney has not abandoned her artistry entirely. In August 2022, she released a collaboration with Elton John, Hold Me Closer, a reimagining of his classic Tiny Dancer. The single debuted in the Billboard Top 10, proving her enduring relevance and the loyalty of her fanbase. Though modest compared to her earlier dominance, the release signaled that Britney Spears' voice still mattered in the music world. Her memoir, The Woman in Me, published in 2023, became another milestone. In its pages, Britney chronicled her rise to fame, her darkest years, and her fight for freedom. The book was both a cathartic release and a cultural event. Praised for its honesty and vulnerability, it cemented her transition from tabloid subject to survivor, someone who could finally tell her own story on her own terms. Still, the comeback has been complex. Britney's social media activity often sparks concern, with erratic posts fueling debates about her well-being. Critics argue she remains fragile, while supporters insist she is simply expressing herself after years of silencing. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. What cannot be denied is that Britney Spears has transformed from a pop phenomenon into a cultural symbol. Her fight against conservatorship reshaped conversations about mental health, autonomy, and the exploitation of women in entertainment. She may never again chase the relentless pace of her early career, but her resilience has redefined her legacy. Britney's comeback is not about reclaiming charts or tours. It is about reclaiming her life. Whether she chooses to perform again or live quietly away from the spotlight, the world now sees her not just as the princess of pop, but as a survivor who fought back against an empire built on her silence. Today, Britney Spears lives in a space both liberated and uncertain, free from the conservatorship that defined more than a decade of her life. She has embraced independence with fierce determination, now living on her own terms. Britney often shares glimpses of her world on Instagram, dancing, reflecting, and voicing her thoughts directly to her fans. For some, These posts are empowering signs of a woman reclaiming her agency. For others, they raise questions about her ongoing struggles. Her 2023 memoir, The Woman in Me, solidified her as more than just a pop icon. The book revealed painful truths about her family, her relationships, and the machine that exploited her. It resonated with millions, not only as a celebrity tell-all but as a testimony of survival. In doing so, Britney reframed herself as both artist and advocate, sparking broader conversations about women's rights, autonomy, and mental health in entertainment. Yet the future remains unresolved. Rumors of new music and potential performances circulate constantly, but Britney herself has expressed ambivalence about returning to the stage. After years of being forced to work, she insists her career will now move, if at all, on her terms. What matters most to her seems not chart positions or ticket sales, but peace, freedom, and self-expression. At 40, Britney Spears stands at a crossroads. She is no longer the teenage prodigy who electrified the world with "Baby One More Time," nor the tabloid spectacle of 2007. She is something more complicated, a survivor, an icon, and a woman still defining what her future will be. The question remains, will Britney Spears step back into the global spotlight, reclaiming her throne as the princess of pop? Or will she choose a quieter life, away from the cameras that once consumed her? Whatever path she takes, one thing is certain: the world will always be watching.